why don't you try on my garb, the whole cassock and everything? And I'm saying, well, why would I do this? Let me take a picture of you. Really, let me take a picture of you and keep it, put it in your wallet, and then show it to girls, tell them you just got out of the seminary. It'll be a great way to pick them up. Right then and there I said, nah, this shit ain't working. This just is not going to happen. I mean, he's just too far gone. But Paul was always a good guy. He was always there when you needed help. And let's put it this way. In my book, Paul is a good guy. My book is complete fiction. Complete fiction.
And as part of the Smith-Jones Act, I have a couple of things that I wanted to say. And that is that, when Paul was in the seminary, I got to tell you that, like Bob, I got a picture in the clerical garb, and it was the greatest way to pick up girls. When Paul, when he got out of the seminary, was introduce you as a guy that just came out of the seminary, has not touched a woman in a year. And that was wonderful. But anyway, when Paul was in the seminary, he probably didn't realize that sometimes he would pinch hit for priests that were a little tired or a little worn out, and he would give the homily. And when he did the homily, he'd look out into the crowd and he'd see everybody kind of nodding off and sleeping. And he really didn't know what to do, so he talked to an older priest. And the older priest said, oh yeah, I used to have that happen to me. And what I do when I start a homily is I say, last night I held in my arms another man's wife. And people would wake up and come to attention. And then the priest would say, it was my own dear mother. And then they'd pay attention to the sermon. Paul said, that's a fantastic idea. So the next time he was tasked with giving a sermon, he got up in front of the crowd, and he was a young, inexperienced guy, and he said, looked out and the crowd was, nodding off and sleeping. He said, last night I held in my arms another man's wife. And my God, the crowd looked at him the same way, and then he got stuck for a moment, and for another moment. And he said, but I can't remember who she was. Needless to say, the priest suggested that he really was better suited for sales.
You people call him a honey badger. And I think this all comes from his upbringing. He grew up on the tough streets of Collingdale. Honest to God, this is a conversation I overheard at Doc Perry's pharmacy over a cherry phosphate. Paul arguing why he should be called Beans. I don't know if you know that, that's his nickname. Beans. Paul Beans Brennan.
Never told me what it was.
He should be called Beans. Another fellow, Tommy Keenan, said, no, I should be called Beans. This went on for quite a long time. Paul, with his great negotiating skills, worked it out. He was Beans. Paul Beans Brennan. Tommy was Beets. Tommy Beets Keenan. So you negotiate whether you want to be a legume or a damn vegetable for the rest of your friggin' life on the tough streets of Collingdale. I mean, people could have been stabbed over this, could have been shot. Didn't have any guns, but But he won out, and in our hearts, he's the Beans. He's the Beaner. Always has, always will be.
Well, for those of you that know Paul, you know that he's rather modest, right? Well, he has much to be modest about, though, right?
What can you say about Paul that hasn't been said about hazard of waste? Yeah, really. He ranks right up there with Kamala Olives and, Joe Biden. He's right up there with them.
The evacuation plan.
Yeah, that's it, the evacuation plan.
Yeah. Paul's idea of free speech is borrowing somebody else's cell phone.
Everybody, a lot of you people worked for Paul, right? Great boss, right? We're growing up, and I don't remember exactly what it was we were trying to get some money for. I don't know whether it was we were trying to go to a movie or something like that. We didn't have any money, you know. Paul comes up with the idea. We're going to paint addresses. And we're going to go around and we're going to tell them it's for the neighborhood boys club. We didn't do it in Collingdale. We did it in Alden. And we went up there and we're putting white paint down and black paint down and we're getting $2 an address. Well, we come back. Well, Paul, wanting to share the wealth, told a couple of Collingdale Mensa members that this is a great way to make money. Go to Alden and do paint addresses. The last we heard, they got arrested on Paul's advice. Paul denied any culpability whatsoever. Don't know what they're talking about, but we got to see the movie. That's the important thing. All on his advice. Very good boss. Very good boss.
You know, growing up with Paul, he was often referred to as the potential to be a movie star. Lassie. The other thing is oftentimes people would, see Paul in action, they'd say, son, you should go to Hollywood. And Paul would take that as a compliment. And then they would say, yeah, the walk would do you good, Paul.
We referred to Paul's religious calling, but I think everybody knows his religion now is God. We learned from him, he started out at a very young age. He was working at Rexy's driving range on McDade Boulevard in Glen Olden, where he ran into the Tar Heel Hootenanny Wildcats, two guys from North Carolina, and suckered them into steal money from them as he made money working there. But he worked on his golf game, and that's where he learned one of his best strokes, the number 2 foot mash. Number 2 foot. What's that over there? Oh, geez, I'm not here. He's the only one I know can hit a ball in the middle of the lake and say, oh, look at it, landed right here on the side. I can't believe it, that's my ball. When you play Kelly, no, it was a Titleist. I know it was a Titleist. Had to be a Titleist. But I'm sure everybody knows that Paul's a very calm and demure golfer. He doesn't get upset. Does not, and that's the least thing in his mind to get upset.
About your husband's restaurant.
It just happened that a couple weeks ago, after Sean called me and asked me to come here, I was taking my wife to Cape May. Take her down there for her birthday, nice B&B and whatnot. And we're walking along the promenade, and I said, that's it. She said, that's what? That's the place. What place? I said, the miniature golf course. That's the place where Paul proceeded to snap the heads off of 2 putters and go back to the guy and say, what are you giving me this shitty equipment for? And not only that, but they had his picture on the wall saying, be on the lookout for this guy. And I tore this away to bring back. You know, it says Cape May, New Jersey. There it is. His putters. They're looking for him still down there. What do you give me this crappy equipment for? I can't believe it.
We got several gifts to give Paul, and we're going to have to lead them out as we go along. How many of you worked for Paul? Oh my. Well, you guys all realize that when you entered Paul's office, he asked you to kiss his ring, right? Except it was in his back pocket.
Everybody knows Paul loves a good joke. He likes a prank. He does. It's part of his lifestyle. Now, I don't know if you know, but when you join a fraternity, you achieve a certain status over like pledges to new people coming in. Paul had this great idea. Over in Overbrook, there was 2 steak shops. Larry's, home of the belly filler, or George's, who we used to go to all the time. All the time. So Paul arranged it to get some Larry's bags, take it to George's, call an order in and send a pledge over to pick it up. Whereby they come back and Paul said, didn't I tell you to go to George's? What the hell is this? I went to George's. It's in Larry's bag. just so they could persecute the kid. Come on, what are you doing? I'm telling you, are you that stupid you can't read Larry's from George's? Not that he was a cruel person or anything. No. He just liked a good prank. And you know what? He could actually take it on the flip side. Now, one day, there was a party for one of the younger guys at the fraternity at the house, and everybody, they're bringing dates and whatnot. And Paul says, yeah, I'm going to have this other girl come, and blah, 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 blah. And the girl he was going out with, this girl, Marilyn, better known as Bird, wasn't going. So my girlfriend at the time, who was Bird's girlfriend, had a family function, right? So she said, I can't go. She said, Bird's not doing anything. Why don't you ask her to go? I said, you know, that's a great idea. So I called her up and said, hey, Bird, you want to go to this party? At least you'll get something to eat, something to drink. It'll be great. Yeah, sure. I show up at her house. She says, oh, my God, thank God you weren't 5 minutes earlier. I said, why? She said, Paul was here asking me to go to this party. I said, what? He said he had enough. He was here. So needless to say, we beat feet over to the party. Now we get in there and we're telling everybody, yeah, Paul came over to ask her after you already, push her in the back of the room. Everybody's standing there waiting. Here comes Paul down the steps. Very demure, unassuming, whatnot. And everybody says, hey, Paul, where's Bird at? He says, I gave Bird the word. I told her, woman, stay home. You're not going out tonight. You stay home. That's it. And all of a sudden, she comes walking out from the back. And everybody in the place going, I guess Bird flew the coop. You gave Bird the word. I guess he flew the coop. So he didn't mind if we were laughing at him either. He enjoyed it.
Bob and I chipped in, spent a hell of a lot of money getting this custom wooden box made out of very exotic woods. We got it custom engraved, this name on it. And actually, knowing that Trish was going to be here, we actually included gifts for both of them. I mean, truly, this is your night. So first of all, with all the time you have in the house retired, just we going to give this to Trish and hang on to Paul for him to wear so you can keep an eye on him. That's activity. But as he's wearing that, here's a couple of earplugs.
That's what's been bad about our marriage. I didn't have enough.
Exactly.
Well, now you got your two pair. Paul, with all the time he has on his hands, I got him a special book. This came from one of the custom bookstores. How to get control of your time and your life. There you go, buddy. Start reading it tonight. But finally, in terms of golf, probably the most important tool that we thought we could give Paul over and above the golf thing.
That's it.
Two things. A bag of balls. And you'll notice there's a pink one in there when he hits from the red tees. But most importantly, the most valuable gift that we give him, in addition to the box is yours, are two golf pencils with the most important characteristic, erasers.
Now, all our guys that we play with and will be assembling again at the end of September have all said, Paul, rules of golf are just a little bit different, and the way he played, just a little bit different. I mean, he's the only guy with 12 woods in his bag, 4 irons, and a putter.
Putter as big as him.
That's it. So, he doesn't conform to the number of clubs, so his game is totally different. So, Paul, we got you this great Wacky Golfer trophy, which is you to a T, because you are the wacky golfer we have, more than anybody.
Actually, Paul was playing golf. He told me he was playing golf last week, and he missed a hole-in-one by 3 strokes.
It was close.
It was close.
Very
Yeah,
close.
very close.
He called for an inquisition. See if anybody saw it.
Bobby wants to shoot his age, right, in golf?
Exactly. He said he wants to do that. Wants to stay around, shoot his age,
Right.
as long as he gets to be 102.
Yeah. Paul, as you know, from working with him or working for him, is quite a salesperson. Wouldn't you agree, Bob?
Exactly. Exactly. As the boss, you always know where Paul stands. Nowhere. Nowhere.
You know, he's a pretty accomplished salesperson. You've seen him in action. You know, in previous jobs, he actually sold carbon paper to Xerox. He sold penicillin as the perfect gift for someone who has everything. And finally, poor Trish, what a sales job. He convinced Trish that polyester is a generic name for mink.
There's a lot of things we could say about Paul.
Yeah.
A lot. But it takes a lot of balls to play golf like he does. A lot. And all I know is my wife said to me, and she's known Paul for a long time, loves him, she says, you can't tell that story, you can't tell that story, you can't tell that story. You can't. She said, but tell Paul, I think he's a great guy. And she says, in my heart, she says, I know Paul will do anything for anybody. Anytime. He's always there.
However,
Peter!
however, you talk about a hard sell. You know, Paul's greatest sales spiel was, don't let me pressure you. Take all the time you need. Sleep on my offer and call me in the morning if you wake.
All right, Beaner. All right.
My final thing is that actually, you know, Bob and I have known Paul for over 60 years, and it's been a pleasure. And for those of you that work with him at Nutrimax, you probably aren't sure what you're going to do without him, right? But you've been dreaming about it for years, right?
Thank you, guys.